The night he finally prayed after years away from Allah. It was 2:17 a.m. The room was completely dark, wrapped in a silence so heavy it almost felt alive. Ahmad lay on his bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling, as if it might suddenly offer him answers it had never given before. He turned to one side. Then the other. Sleep refused to come. It wasn't ordinary tiredness. His body was exhausted, but his mind, his heart, they wouldn't rest. There was a weight in his chest, quiet, persistent, impossible to ignore. For a long moment, he just stared into the darkness. Then, almost without realizing it, his lips moved. Ya Allah. The words came out soft. Unfamiliar. Strange. He froze slightly, as if surprised by himself. Because he hadn't said those words in years. Ahmad hadn't always been like this. Once, praying was a natural part of his life. It wasn't something he thought about, it was just there, like breathing. But change doesn't always come loudly. Sometimes, it slips in quietly, unnoticed. It started with one missed prayer. "I'll pray later," he had told himself. Later turned into another delay. Then another. Days passed. Then weeks. And before he realized it, Salah had become something distant, something he used to do. At first, there was guilt. A tight feeling in his chest. A voice that whispered, "This isn't you." But he ignored it. And slowly, that voice began to fade. Outwardly, Ahmad seemed fine. He laughed with his friends, joined conversations, kept up with everything happening around him. If anyone looked at his life from the outside, they wouldn't notice anything wrong. But inside, something was missing. He couldn't explain it. So he tried to distract himself. He spent more time on his phone, scrolling endlessly. He filled his days with noise, videos, conversations, anything that could keep him from being alone with his thoughts. And it worked. At least, for a while. Because no matter how much he distracted himself, there was always that moment. That quiet moment. When the laughter stopped. When the screen went dark. When everything slowed down. And in that silence, the emptiness returned. Stronger. Deeper. Unavoidable. Sometimes, he would hear the adhan echo faintly from a nearby mosque. Once, that sound had meant everything to him. Now, it passed by like background noise. One afternoon, his mother called out from another room. "Ahmad, did you pray?" He paused. Not because he didn't know the answer, but because he didn't want to say it. "I will," he replied. But he didn't. Another day, a friend nudged him casually. "Come, let's pray." Ahmad smiled lightly and waved it off. Later. But later never came. It was always later. Until, later, slowly became never. Then came that night. Nothing unusual had happened. No tragedy. No sudden event. Just silence. Ahmad sat on his bed, his phone glowing faintly in his hand. His thumb moved across the screen out of habit, but something felt different. The videos didn't entertain him. The jokes didn't make him laugh. Everything felt empty. He stared at the screen for a few seconds, then locked it. The room fell into darkness again. This time, he didn't reach for anything else. He just sat there. Still. Alone with his thoughts. And then, without warning, the question hit him. What am I doing with my life? The words echoed in his mind, louder than anything he had heard all day. He swallowed hard. The question came again. What am I doing? Slowly, Ahmad stood up. His heart began to beat faster, though nothing around him had changed. He glanced across the room. In the corner, barely visible in the dim light, lay his prayer mat, folded neatly, untouched for years. He stared at it. For a moment, it felt as though it was staring back at him. Waiting. It had always been there. He took a step toward it. Then another. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if he were walking against something unseen, something pulling him back. A quiet struggle played out within him. A battle between the version of himself he had become, and the one he had left behind. When he finally reached it, he hesitated. Then he bent down and picked it up. His hands trembled slightly. Not because he had forgotten how to pray, but because he wasn't sure if he still could. He unfolded the mat slowly and placed it on the floor. For a few seconds, he just stood there. Frozen. Then, with a deep breath, he raised his hands. Allahu Akbar. The moment the words left his lips, everything broke. His voice trembled as he began to recite, but the words felt heavy. Before he could even continue, his chest tightened. Tears welled up in his eyes. He tried to hold them back. But he couldn't. They fell. One after another. Years of distance, of guilt, of silence, all came crashing down at once. Ya Allah, he whispered, his voice shaking. I'm tired. The words carried more than exhaustion. They carried surrender. He wasn't just tired of life. He was tired of running. Tired of pretending. Tired of feeling empty. He cried like he hadn't cried in years, not out of weakness, but out of truth. Every tear felt like something being released, something being healed. When he finally finished, he remained there for a moment. Still. Quiet. Nothing around him had changed. His problems were still there. His life was still the same. But inside, something was different. The heaviness that had once filled his chest, had eased. For the first time in a long time, Ahmad felt something he couldn't describe fully. Peace. Not loud. Not overwhelming. Just, real. As he sat there in the silence of the night, one thought settled gently in his heart. Maybe he hadn't been abandoned. Maybe he had just been called back. And maybe, the moment a person feels the most lost, is the very moment they are being guided home. That night didn't make him perfect, but it made him return. And sometimes, returning is all it takes.